Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Azure On Air. Today we have an expert, Alessandro Moura, who's got 20 plus years of experience in the integration side of Azure. And also he's delivered 60 plus Microsoft official courses for almost 900 students in classroom. And also he's a solution architect and integration specialist. And he's also the Microsoft Azure MVP holder. So I couldn't find a better person to talk to us about the service bus integration usage in our show. So I'm very happy to welcome Alessandro. Hi, Alessandro.
Service Bus was one of the very first integration technology that was, developed by Microsoft in Azure. So one of the challenges, like, what do we do with that message? Do we just, complete the message, discard the message? Do we send that message to the dead letter queue? Monitoring for when you're working with all the Azure technologies, right? So we're talking about Service Bus, but we have like many other technologies.
Yeah.
Monitoring needs to be on your mind because when that solution goes live, you need to be able to see what's going on. Hi, nice to be here, and thanks for inviting me to the show.
So, yes, Alessandro. So, today we're going to discuss with our audience about the service bus. So, we have fixed the topic to be service bus, the heart of an integration. What do you think about this particular topic? Let's start off with that.
Yeah, Service Bus has been like always like one of the technologies that whenever we need like reliable communication between parties where the systems are not reliable themselves, that's where we introduce Service Bus in the architecture of our solutions. I've been using Service Bus for quite a few years now. So the thing like Service Bus was one of the very first integration technology that was developed by Microsoft in Azure. It's been a long time, and we are using. I've been using that for in quite a lot of my projects.
Super, super. So, you told that it's the first service or first thing that people go for integration or the earliest service that's been available. Can you just let us know the evolution of service bus? It's been long time, right? So, can you just elaborate us on the evolution of service bus?
I guess the evolution of service bus, like the principles of the services, has been pretty much always the same. But if we try to break that down a little bit, we're going to say that the first capability done by service bus was the usage of exchanging messaging queues.
Mm,
A few years later, they introduced the capability of doing work in a pub sub architecture using topics and subscriptions. And I guess the latest one, bigger. So there are like lots of advancements that they did in the product. But I think the bigger one was the Service Bus Premium tier, which allow us
mm.
to exchange large messages using the service.
Yeah. When you spoke about the service bus premium tier, I would also like to know a bit more about that. Can you just enlighten us that for our
Yeah,
audience?
yeah, yeah. So Service Bus Premium, one of the capabilities and that's the reason that I'm using this product right now, is to allow us to exchange large messages. So the
Mm,
organization that I'm working for right now, we have to exchange a message that is bigger than 10 megabytes. With the standard tiers, we don't have the support in Service Bus. So we are using the Service Bus Premium to allow us to exchange messages using this capability.
mm.
But it's not the only thing that it has. So when we go to the Service Bus Premium, we also have a dedicated compute power for only our organization.
Mm,
So we are isolated from other, users of other companies of Service Bus. And the other thing it allows us is to have a better network control. So if I want to control exactly where the communication goes to and where the communication goes, where the communication comes from and where the communication goes to, we can control that like in Service Bus Premium as well.
Super, super. That was quick description about the service bus premium usage and how it's effective. So, being speaking about the service bus usage and its benefits, there are also some challenges in service bus, right? Can you just help us understand how a service bus can also be challenging when implementing in an integration?
Yeah, one of the challenges we are facing right now is how to deal when the systems are not able to, you know, receive that message or handle that message properly. So one of the challenges, like, what do we do with that message? Do we just, complete the message, discard the message? Do we send that message to the dead letter queue? And if we send you the letter that letter queue, what do we do next, right? So we need to create process to handle this type of situations, I would say. So we need to have proper process in place to say, okay, once the message goes to that letter queue, we need to have a process that someone from the service desk in the organization that I work for, they need to have access to that queue so they can see what is the message and do a kind of process on top of those communications that went wrong. So I think that that's one of the challenges that I have today. The other one is lack of end-to-end traceability in Azure. So one of the things we notice is like, okay, I got a message and I process the message through, I don't know, large caps, functions, whatever it might be, and then the message fail. How do we see that communication fail? How do we have a tracing of that message end to end? So that's one of the challenges we have today. Right now we are implementing custom logging
Hmm.
to allow us to have a better visibility, but it's still like it's not, how it should, have been.
Yeah. So, having you said that from a perspective of a consultant from my end for myself, so we are also dealing with customers who come in asking for dead letter processing. So we have a tool called Serverless 360, which is a tool which complements the Azure challenges. So that's where we have an feature set called Service Bus Dead Letter Processing, and like you said, we have the end-to-end traceability as well. So having these challenges, so, do you think an a beginner of who's using Service Bus in their integration should opt for a monitoring tool?
Yeah, so monitoring for when you're working with all the Azure technologies, right? So we're talking about Service Bus, but we have like many other technologies.
Yeah.
Monitoring needs to be on your mind
Mm,
because when that solution goes live, you need to be able to see what's going on, right?
mm,
Um, for example, we have a very complicated sales order process that is being managed like throughout several systems. So we have our ERP system, we have our order entry system, we have our stock management system. All of that needs to be communicated properly, and we need to see if there's an issue, where the issue is happening, and if the order didn't proceed as we wanted to, what kind of information is being exchanged, in those systems. So a
mm,
monitoring solution is a must. So
yeah.
you can either, build yourself that
Mm,
solution,
mm,
but it takes time. It takes time to build a
yeah.
solution, or you can buy an off-shelf solution ready
Mm.
to help you overcome those challenges.
Yeah. So, like rightly you mentioned, monitoring is should not be an afterthought. It's something that should be taken care of. So, at what point in time should an integration architect or a specialist should opt for a monitoring solution? Should it be in the beginning of the integration development itself, or in the mid of the integration?
Ideally, I would say we should be doing this like very from the beginning.
Yeah.
We need to think like how is going to be the support of that solution.
Mm,
uh, Normally that's not what happens.
mm, mm,
So in the organization that I'm right now, we started thinking about that like middle process, right? So
mm,
we start the development, and we start to see like, the challenges we would have, and like we are in the middle of the project right now, and now we are starting to think how we are going to support the solution when it goes into production. But
yeah.
I would say like if you are doing the work like using the best practice, I would say do that from the beginning. Start
Mm.
thinking that from the very beginning.
That's what we rightly mentioned here in this podcast as well, because we also have people. We had a customer like yesterday from our end who came in right when their development stage itself. On the second of the half of the day, we had a customer who came in with a huge trouble, saying that we're in the middle of an integration, middle of the process, and we need a solution right now. So there are two different categories of people that we are dealing with in real time as well. So in that case, like you spoke a lot about service bus, telling us this is how it functions, this is how these are the challenges, these are the benefits. So can you also tell us when and where to use a service bus, because a solution is not ideally profitable or ideally beneficial in all situations, right? So it also has its own good side and bad side. So when should we use it?
Yeah, so normally we use like a service bus when we don't have real time needs in our solution.
Mm,
So, for example, if I'm building websites that I need like a live response from the backend systems, service bus is not going to be probably your solution, right?
mm,
Because you need to have like that real time communication with those backend systems. We use service bus a lot when we have backend process. We have process that can happen in the backend. What I
mm,
mean is like, okay, we have the way we design for the solution we're designing right now is we have the front end system that talks with the OMS system,
mm,
the order management system. That system doesn't need to do any communication with the ERP or the inventory systems live. So this is where we define that, okay, we can have a backend communication here, and this is where we are going to implement service bus, because we have different, I guess, performance capabilities between those systems, right? So
yeah,
the OMS system, the front end system, they have like much more capacity to receive like thousands of orders, in a second,
yeah.
I would say, but the ERP system doesn't have the same capability. And with us doing the processing of that solution in the backend, we can control the load that we want that is going to go to that particular system. So Service Bus is going to allow us for asynchronous communication when we
Mm.
can, and it's going to allow us to also offload huge volumes of requests from digital systems to more complex backend systems that doesn't have the same capacity in terms of volume.
Super. So that was a quick answer from your side about the question when and where to use the service bus. Also, can you just share us some experience from your end by using service bus, or some use cases that you handled with?
It's as I mentioned before, like it's a backend process. We need to capture any changes in this inventory system. So once we do the sales order process, we define through this stock inventory system. We define when we can deliver that product based on what the system tell us. But there's a process that happens afterwards where some of the business users, they can go back into the system and they can change those orders to say, okay, I have to deliver, I don't know, 500 fridges for of this brand and model to these stores, but I don't have capacity right now because I have like some other needs that I need to attend to. So I don't have the 500s now. I'll have like maybe in a month. So what they do is that they reorganize those orders, and when that happens, there's a backend process that needs to inform both the ERP system and the order management system that a change has happened into those
Mm,
orders. So this is a very good solution, a very good use case for Service Bus, because I don't have to do this in real time. I don't have to do
yeah.
this live. I can just take all the orders that were changed in that particular day, and I go through each one of one by one to update the systems that I need to update. So that all happens like in the background. The user is not aware that that is happening, unless until it receives the response back from the order management system that, okay, your order has been postponed because, whatever reason we have to do this. So this is one of the places that we use service bus. As I mentioned before, the other case is for the order entering as well. So we have like real time communication with the order management system. But after that, anything that happens in the stock system, anything that happens into the ERP system, that is
Mm.
also done like, uh, after the fact, right? So we answer the customer as fast as we can, and then we work in the back end to make sure we have all the systems up to date using Service Bus as our communication mechanism.
Awesome, awesome use case from your end, Alessandro. That really feels the power of service bus in a particular integration as well. And also, all good speaking about the service bus and the good and bad of it. But also, we would always have an idea behind this podcast is to give people the idea behind Azure On Air show is to enlighten beginners who are trying to implement Azure in their use cases. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, in that case, what would be your piece of advice to the people who are planning to implement or migrate to Azure in general?
In general, like there's lots of services, lots of ways to implement solutions using Azure.
Hmm.
We have similar services that does can do like pretty much the same thing in different ways. I would say you need to analyze what are your requirements, not just the functional requirements, right, but also what are your technical or non-functional requirements. So you need
Yeah.
to understand what you need to provide. So let's say you have, I don't know, you need to do one request per day for a particular
Hmm.
solution, or you need to do 1,000 requests per day, or you need to understand like what is the capability you want to provide, and based on that you can define what you're going to use. Because I can use functions, Azure
Yeah.
functions, using the consumption tier, which
Hmm.
has like a particular cost, and it's even free like until a certain level. I can use large caps consumption, I can use large caps standard, I can use functions premium, and so on and so forth. So all of these requirements that you gather from the technical side, what you need to provide in terms of scalability, in terms of security, in terms of performance of the solution, all of that's going to determine what kind of service you are going to use. So you need to go over, all of these to understand. And because
Hmm.
like if you are a beginner, you need to. It's hard to define which is which. There are a lot of reference architectures, the Microsoft Architecture Center,
Yeah.
that can help you guide what is the solution. So I don't have the link right now, but there's a link in there that shows
Hmm.
you based like on the input you put on that page, what kind of compute you're going to use, or the proposal compute that Microsoft thinks is going to be best for you. So that's, I guess, is a good like starting point.
Hmm.
Speaking specifically about integration technologies, you have basically two choices: Azure Functions and large caps. And
Hmm.
that's going to be based on your preference. If you prefer more like a coding style, it's going to be functions, because you can use C sharp or other languages. But you have to do all the coding yourself. You have to do like a lot of plumbing in terms of the code to uh, um, provide you the service
Hmm.
you want. If you are more used to a type of designer tool, Logic Apps probably is going to be the best options. In terms of the cost, I guess right now they are very similar, so you are not going to have like that many surprise in terms of the cost. But those
Yeah.
styles as being like more code based or more designer based going to allow you to choose one of the other. And this is just like about the processing tool, I would say, right?
Hmm.
So you need to choose what is the kind of architecture you're going to choose. It's going to be real time. If it's real time, pretty much APIs is going to solve your problem. If it's near real time, you have Service Bus, but you also have event hubs, you also have event grids, and then you have to think about storage if your solution is going to hold the data. Cosmos DB, SQL Server. So there's lots of services. The reference architecture, they're your friend to help you, design your first solutions. And after that, it's just you know what works best for you and your company, and you're
Yeah.
going to proceed from there.
Yeah, super, super advice from your end, Alessandro. That is a quick tip for all the participants or audience who are trying to implement Azure in your integrations. So, also, as I mentioned in the introduction, you have delivered almost 60 plus Microsoft official courses, and also I saw a number called 900 students. So, can you also give a quick tip for the students who are trying to learn Azure?
There's like the good thing with the internet nowadays, like you have the knowledge at the tip of your fingers, I would say. Some of them you need to pay, some of them they are free. So one very good resource like that contains uh, information and tips, and talking about what we actually do like on our day to day is like Vistal 360, Server 360, you guys, you provide a very good, service for the community. A lot of, this content is pretty much free. Anyone can access like the videos and podcasts and see what experts are saying in the field. So that's one very good thing. I use a lot Microsoft to learn. So it's still nowadays I have like more than 20 years, but every time that I need to learn some new subject, I use a lot Microsoft to learn, which is free as well. Uh, I watch podcasts from the major, I guess, experts in the field, and you could I could name like several Microsoft employees that they have their own podcasts and podcasts and webcasts as well. What else? YouTube contains a lot of resources. I mean, I'm just talking about the free ones, right? So,
Yeah.
but if you want to pay for something more structured in terms of learning, there are a lot of tools out there, a lot of sites out there. So search one of them. Which one is going to be best for your organization? Use them. I use LinkedIn Learning. I use Pluto Site sometimes. I use Udemy. So those are the paid ones. They help you quite a lot as well.
Super. So I guess this also has a huge impact for the listeners who are listening to our podcast right now. So I'm very happy to have you on our show, Alessandro. It was a great session from your end. You gave very crisp answers, which was not exceeding the or exaggerating the content. You just gave us what we want. It was very crisp and clear. I'm very happy to have hosted you in this show.
Oh, thank you very much. Very happy to be here as well.
Cove.co